Seniors, stop. There are 9 common foods that most older adults keep in the fridge thinking they're preserving their health. But shocking new research reveals for people over 60 this habit could be quietly draining your energy, worsening inflammation, and accelerating memory decline. You see, when certain foods are exposed to cold, they don't just lose flavor. They lose vitamins, antioxidants, and in some cases they actually start producing harmful compounds. And yet over 99% of seniors are still refrigerating them every week without knowing the damage it might be doing. No one told you. Not the food labels. Not your doctor. You've been trying to eat right, and your fridge has been working against you. Worse, the symptoms often show up in ways you'd never suspect. Your knees hurt more after lunch. Your mind feels foggy even after a full night's sleep. Your garlic turns mushy. Your honey turns gritty. And you think it's just aging. But it might be your fridge. In this video, we'll reveal the 9 foods you should never refrigerate, especially if you're over 60. We'll explain the science behind what's really happening to these foods, and show you exactly how to store them to protect your gut, your memory, and your strength. Watch until the end to discover the one most dangerous food to refrigerate, especially if you care about brain health and energy. This isn't about trendy diets or cutting out everything you love. It's about simple fixes to everyday habits so your food can finally do what it's supposed to: nourish your body as you age. Before we begin, leave a comment below with your age. Have you ever stored potatoes, tomatoes, or bananas in the fridge and noticed something just felt off after eating them? We're reading and replying to every single comment. Coming in at number 9 on our list is bread, a beloved staple that might be turning against your gut after age 60. At first glance, refrigerating bread feels like the smart thing to do. It keeps mold at bay, stretches your grocery bill, and just seems safe. Especially if you're living alone or trying to avoid waste, right? But here's the hidden truth for older adults: refrigerating bread doesn't preserve it. It slowly ruins it. When bread gets cold, it undergoes something called starch retrogradation, a process where the starches crystallize and squeeze out moisture. That's why your refrigerated bread becomes hard, dry, and tastes like cardboard. In fact, studies show it stales 6 times faster in the fridge than at room temperature. But this isn't just about texture. For seniors, dry and dense bread becomes harder to chew, harder to digest, and can trigger bloating, sluggishness, or blood sugar spikes, especially when paired with coffee on an empty stomach. And here's something most people never think about. When you lose the natural aroma and softness of bread, you also lose one of the gentle pleasures that kickstart digestion: flavor, anticipation. So, what should you do instead? Store your bread at room temperature in a paper bag or bread box where air can circulate. If you won't finish it in 5 to 6 days, slice it and freeze it, then toast it straight from frozen. Unlike refrigeration, freezing doesn't destroy texture or flavor, it actually preserves them. Frank, 66, used to keep his multi-grain loaf in the fridge just to be safe. But by day 3, it was stale and unsatisfying. Once he switched to freezing slices and toasting them fresh, he noticed not just better taste, but less bloating and more energy that lasted until lunch. So no bread isn't the problem, but the fridge that might be. Protect your gut. Reclaim your breakfast. Let your bread do what it was meant to do: nourish. At number 8 is honey. For centuries, honey has been praised as nature's golden remedy. It's soothing, antibacterial, and packed with antioxidants. In fact, archaeologists have discovered 3,000-year-old jars of honey in Egyptian tombs. Still edible. But here's what most people, especially older adults, don't know. Refrigerating honey may strip it of the very nutrients your body depends on to fight aging, inflammation, and infection. When stored in cold temperatures, honey begins to crystallize rapidly. The smooth golden liquid turns hard and grainy. But more than texture, cold can introduce moisture into the jar, especially when opened and closed. That condensation, it's honey's worst enemy. Moisture invites fermentation. It breaks down honey's antimicrobial compounds like glucose oxidase, which are key to its immune-boosting benefits. In fact, research from the National Honey Board found that honey stored below 50 degrees Celsius lost up to 35% of its natural antibacterial power in just a few weeks. And for seniors, that's no small loss. Honey isn't just a sweetener. When used properly, it can help soothe the throat, support gut health, aid sleep, and even reduce nighttime coughing. But if you've been pulling your honey out of the fridge, chances are you're missing out on all that. Here's the simple shift: store honey at room temperature between 64 and 75 degrees in a sealed glass jar away from direct sunlight. Don't refrigerate it. Don't microwave it. Just let it rest. And if your honey crystallizes, don't throw it out. Place the jar in warm water and stir gently. It'll return to its liquid form without losing its goodness. Frank's wife, Linda, 68, used to refrigerate honey to keep it fresh. But their nightly tea stopped soothing her like before. Once she switched to room temp honey, she noticed her sleep improved and her digestion felt calmer too. Here's a bonus tip. Darker honey contains more antioxidants, but it's also more sensitive to cold. If you're using honey to support your immune system or joints, keep it warm and sealed like it was always meant to be. Number 7 on our list might surprise you. It is bananas. This fruit almost every senior eats weekly, but the fridge could be stripping it of the very nutrients your aging body depends on. Bananas are comforting. They're soft, naturally sweet and gentle on aging teeth and digestion. Many seniors eat them daily for potassium, for blood pressure, for that little energy boost after breakfast. But when you place bananas in the fridge, you don't just change their color, you change their chemistry. Bananas are tropical by nature. They were never meant to face the cold. When refrigerated below 56 degrees, they suffer what's known as chilling injury, a condition where their cells rupture, enzymes leak, and nutrient production stops completely. The skin turns black. But the real damage is hidden. According to research from the Queensland Department of Agriculture, bananas stored in the fridge lose up to 80% of their vitamin C in just 5 days. And for seniors, vitamin C is more than just an immune booster. It helps the body absorb iron, fight fatigue, reduce inflammation, and maintain skin elasticity. Walt, 73, used to buy bananas every Sunday and put them straight into the fridge, thinking it kept them safe. When he stopped refrigerating bananas and began eating them fully ripe at room temp, his energy began to stabilize, and he actually started enjoying his fruit again. Here's how to store bananas the right way. Keep them at room temperature, ideally between 56 to 70 degrees. Use a banana hanger to avoid bruising. Want a slow ripening. Wrap the stems in plastic wrap and separate each banana. Need to speed it up. Place them in a paper bag with an apple. The ethylene gas will do the rest. And if you have extras, peel them, freeze them, and use them in smoothies or oatmeal. Frozen bananas actually blend into a creamy, ice-free texture, perfect for older adults avoiding added sugar. Bananas are gentle, nourishing, and healing, but only when stored the way nature intended. Let them ripen in the warmth. Your body will thank you for it. At number 6 is a food many seniors rely on for heart health, but your refrigerator might be turning it into something harmful. That's garlic. Garlic is more than a cooking staple, it's a medicinal powerhouse. For people over 60, it's often used to support circulation, fight inflammation, and lower blood pressure naturally. But when you store garlic in the fridge, you're not preserving its power, you're slowly destroying it. Cold, moist environments trigger sprouting in garlic. Those little green shoots that look harmless. They're bitter, irritating to the gut, and signal a major loss of potency. But that's just the beginning. Refrigeration breaks down garlic's cell walls, making it mushy, sticky, and impossible to chop cleanly. Worse, it creates the perfect breeding ground for mold and mycotoxins, dangerous compounds that can strain liver function and weaken immunity, especially in older adults. A study from the University of California, Davis, found that refrigerated garlic loses 50% of its allicin, the compound responsible for its heart-protective antibacterial and antiviral effects, within just 10 days. Sophia, 67, had been taking garlic seriously ever since her doctor suggested it might help lower her blood pressure. She even added chopped garlic to her soups daily. But she stored it in a plastic container in the fridge and never understood why it often tasted bitter or upset her stomach. Here's how to store garlic the right way. Keep it in a cool, dry place with airflow, like a mesh bag, wire basket, or even a clay pot. Avoid sealed plastic containers. Never refrigerate it. And don't store garlic near your stove. Heat and humidity speed up sprouting. When stored correctly, a whole bulb can last up to 6 months and still pack the punch your heart and immune system need. So if garlic is part of your wellness routine, let it breathe, keep it warm, and don't let the fridge rob it of the very properties that made you trust it in the first place. Coming in at number 5 is a kitchen essential. Yet refrigerating it can turn this heart-healthy vegetable into a moldy, toxic hazard. That's onions. Onions are in almost everything: soups, stews, salads. They add flavor, fight inflammation, and even support cardiovascular health, thanks to compounds like quercetin and sulfur-rich antioxidants. But storing them in the fridge, that's where things start to rot, literally. Inside the refrigerator, humidity levels hover around 95%. But onions need a dry environment, ideally 65% or less. That excess moisture seeps past the papery skin and turns your onion into a breeding ground for mold and mycotoxins. Specifically black mold, which can produce aflatoxins, some of the most dangerous carcinogenic compounds known to science. And before you even see the mold, the damage may already be done. Cold temperatures also trigger sugar conversion in onions. Their starches break down into sugars, altering the flavor completely. Instead of sharp and savory, you get something sweet, mushy, and totally wrong for cooking. For seniors already watching blood sugar or fighting fatigue, that matters. You don't want a surprise sugar spike from your onions, or to lose the sulfur compounds that help lower blood pressure and reduce inflammation. Here's the proper way to store onions. Keep whole onions in a cool, dry, well-ventilated space like a pantry cellar or even a dark cabinet. Use a mesh bag or a woven basket. Never use plastic, and absolutely never store them next to potatoes. They release gases that make each other spoil faster. Cut onions are different. Once sliced, they can be refrigerated, but only in airtight containers and used within 7 days. Don't let your onions turn against you. Stored properly, they're healing, energizing, and heart protective. Stored wrong, they're just another hidden health hazard, hiding behind a thin layer of skin. Taking the number 4 spot on our list is one of the most comforting foods on the planet, potatoes. But store them in the fridge, and you may be turning this hearty favorite into a health hazard. Potatoes are warm, familiar, and deeply satisfying, especially for older adults who grew up with them as a staple at nearly every meal. But when you toss raw potatoes in the fridge thinking you're extending their life, you might be creating something your digestive system and your brain can't handle. Cold temperatures cause the starches in potatoes to rapidly convert into sugars, a process called cold-induced sweetening. That sugar doesn't just change the flavor, it reacts dangerously during cooking. When those sugar-heavy potatoes are baked, roasted, or fried, they combine with amino acids to create acrylamide, a chemical classified by the International Agency for Research on Cancer as a probable human carcinogen. A study from the University of Idaho found that potatoes stored at refrigeration temperatures tripled their sugar content in just 2 weeks. That means your baked potato could be delivering a sugar bomb and toxic byproducts all in the same bite. But the effects go beyond chemistry. Cold also ruins the cell structure, making the inside gritty and unpleasant. Ever wonder why your mashed potatoes taste slightly sweet or gluey even when you followed Grandma's recipe? It's not you. It's the fridge. Here's how to store potatoes the right way. Keep them in a cool, dark place, ideally 45–50 degrees for. A pantry cellar or even a cardboard box in a closet will do. Use a paper bag, not plastic, and allow for air circulation. And here's a senior-saving tip: keep potatoes far away from onions. The gases they emit make each other spoil faster. Store them at least 3 feet apart. When stored correctly, potatoes can last up to 3 months. In the fridge, they start degrading in just 2 weeks. So let your potatoes rest in the dark, not the fridge. Protect your body from unwanted sugar, your brain from toxic buildup, and your plate from that strange, off-putting taste. Coming in at number 3 is coffee, a daily ritual for millions of older adults. But if you're storing it in the fridge, you might be drinking more than just caffeine. For many seniors, coffee is sacred. It starts the day. It clears the mind. It's a warm comfort that makes mornings feel purposeful, especially in retirement when routines matter more than ever. But if your coffee beans or grounds are sitting in the fridge, you may be sipping on a stale, bitter brew laced with mold and missing nutrients. Here's the truth. Coffee is highly porous. It absorbs moisture, odors, and even chemicals from the air around it. Your fridge may feel clean, but it's full of smells from leftovers, produce, and condiments. And your coffee, it's soaking them all in like a sponge. But it gets worse. The condensation created by fluctuating fridge temperatures invites mold and causes the delicate oils in your beans to oxidize and solidify. That means less flavor, less aroma, and a dull, lifeless brew that never quite wakes you up. A study by the Specialty Coffee Association revealed that coffee beans stored in the fridge lost up to 60% of their aromatic compounds in just 1 week. And those compounds do more than make coffee smell good. They stimulate your nervous system, lift your mood, and may even support short-term memory. Here's the fix: store coffee in an airtight, opaque container. Not glass, not clear plastic, and keep it at a steady room temperature, 60–70 degrees Celsius. Buy smaller batches and use them within 2 weeks of opening. If you must store long-term, freeze once, only in pre-measured portions. Never freeze. Coffee should wake up your senses, not leave you tired, bloated, or disappointed. So the next time you reach for that bag in the fridge, stop. You deserve a cup that actually supports your brain and energy, not sabotages it. Taking the number 2 spot is the humble tomato, a food praised for heart health and longevity. But put it in the fridge and it loses the very nutrients that make it worth eating. Tomatoes are more than just salad filler. They're rich in lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that helps fight inflammation, protect your heart, and may even reduce the risk of certain cancers. But the moment you place them in the fridge, You're not just chilling the fruit, you're shutting down its very biology. Researchers at the University of Florida discovered something shocking. Cold temperatures deactivate hundreds of genes responsible for flavor, aroma, and nutrient development in tomatoes. Even if you take them out later and let them warm up, the damage is permanent. The result? A tomato that looks red, but tastes flat, feels mealy, and offers just a fraction of the health benefits you think you're getting. Even more alarming, refrigeration slashes lycopene availability by up to 65%. And without certain enzymes also destroyed by the cold, your body can't even absorb what little lycopene remains. For seniors, that's a big loss. Lycopene plays a key role in reducing arterial stiffness, fighting oxidative stress, and maintaining brain health. Without it, you're losing protection at the cellular level. Margaret, 72, always kept her tomatoes in the fridge just like her mother did. But after learning about lycopene breakdown and gene deactivation, she made a small change. She kept her tomatoes stem side down on the counter out of direct sunlight. Within weeks, she noticed something simple but meaningful. The tomatoes actually tasted like food again. Juicy, vibrant, and deeply satisfying. Here's the right way to store tomatoes. Keep them at room temperature, ideally between 55–70 degrees. Store them stem side down on a plate or in a breathable basket to prevent moisture from entering through the stem scar. Never seal them in a plastic bag. Trapped ethylene gas will make them rot faster. And if you've got too many ripe ones, make a quick tomato sauce and freeze that instead. Cooked tomatoes actually increase lycopene availability, and freezing preserves it perfectly. Don't let cold air erase the benefits you've worked so hard to get. Your heart, your brain, and your taste buds deserve more than a lifeless red balloon. Claiming the #1 spot on our list is the mighty avocado, one of the healthiest foods for aging brains. But refrigerating it too soon may turn this superfood into a nutrient graveyard. Avocados are a nutritional miracle. They're rich in monounsaturated fats, vitamin E, magnesium, potassium, and antioxidants that support cognitive function, joint flexibility, and heart health. But when stored in the fridge before they're ripe or kept cold for too long, something devastating happens. Cold temperatures trigger lipid peroxidation, a process where the healthy fats in avocados begin to oxidize, turning into harmful free radicals instead of protecting your cells. And for seniors, that matters, because those fats aren't just about calories. They protect your brain, reduce inflammation, and help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, and K. Without them, other nutrients can't do their job. A study from Stanford University found that refrigerated avocados lost over 90% of their antioxidant activity in just 4 days. And when the cell walls break down, another enzyme, polyphenol oxidase, kicks into overdrive, causing browning, bitterness, and nutrient collapse from the inside out. Dan, 68, was trying to eat healthier after a minor stroke. He bought avocados regularly but kept them in the fridge so they wouldn't go bad. What he didn't realize, the cold stopped them from ripening, and worse, turned the healthy fats into a stringy, bitter mess. His digestion felt heavier. After learning about the damage, he began storing avocados on the counter, letting them ripen naturally, and noticed not only better texture, but better focus, and less post-meal fatigue. Here's how to store avocados the right way. Keep unripe avocados at room temperature 65–75 degrees. Let them ripen naturally on the counter with air circulation. Don't bag them unless you want to speed up the ripening with a banana or apple. Once ripe, you can refrigerate them for 2 to 3 days max, but know the clock is ticking. And if you've only used half, leave the pit in, brush the exposed flesh with lemon juice, and store it in an airtight container with a slice of onion. The onion's natural sulfur prevents browning without altering taste. Properly stored avocados nourish your brain, protect your joints, and boost every bite of your meal. Refrigerated too soon, they become a bitter, wasted opportunity. You've just uncovered 9 foods that are secretly losing their power in your fridge and what to do instead. At this stage of life, every nutrient matters, not just for staying strong, but for staying sharp, independent, and energized. Which of these surprised you the most? Have you been refrigerating any of them for years without knowing? Leave a comment, we read everyone, and we'd love to hear your story. And remember, you're not broken. You're not behind. You've just been storing your food wrong. And if you're still watching, this next video is especially for you. We'll uncover the truth about vegetables. Because while we've all been told to eat more greens, not all veggies are safe after 60. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.